Have you ever looked at your life and wondered why you can be doing fine on the outside, yet feel tired and scattered on the inside? Have you ever asked yourself why aging feels lighter for some people and heavier for others, even when they face the same kind of changes? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about nurturing your body, mind, and spirit as you age in a way that feels gentle and real. Not a loud promise, not a perfect routine that you will quit in 2 weeks, but a quiet approach that grows stronger with time. Because the older you get, the more you realize that you do not only age in your bones, you age in your habits. You age in the way you speak to yourself. You age in the kind of attention you feed. You age in how you handle fear. You age in what you cling to and what you finally let go. Buddhist wisdom has a simple way of saying it. Conditions change, and suffering is optional when you learn how to meet conditions with awareness, compassion, and wise effort. That is what we are building today. A way to care for the body with respect, calm the mind with practice, and nourish the spirit with meaning. And we will do it through 9 quiet secrets, not as a list to memorize, but as a living path you can recognize inside your own life. I want to start with a story that feels familiar, because most people arrive at this topic the same way, not through curiosity, but through a moment of quiet discomfort that becomes impossible to ignore. Imagine someone named Patricia. She is in her early 70s. She has done many things right by the standards of the world. She worked hard. She raised a family. She stayed responsible. She paid bills. She showed up. People describe her as strong. But lately she notices something. Her body feels different in the morning. Not broken, but different. Her sleep is lighter. Her joints need more time. Her digestion is more sensitive. Her energy has a smaller budget. She also notices a change in her mind. Thoughts repeat more. Worries appear faster. Memory sometimes hesitates. And when she looks at her life, she feels something she does not know how to name. It is not despair. It is not dramatic sadness. It is a quiet hunger for wholeness, a longing to feel cared for from the inside. One evening, she sits alone at her kitchen table with a warm drink. The house is quiet. The light is soft, yet her mind is loud. She is thinking about health. She is thinking about being a burden. She is thinking about the future. She is thinking about the past. She is thinking about whether she did enough, whether she loved well, whether she wasted time, whether it is too late to change. Then she notices the cup in her hands. She notices the warmth. She notices her breath. And for one brief moment, the mind becomes quiet. The moment does not last long, but it is enough to show her something important. Peace is not far away. It is right here. The problem is that she does not know how to stay with it. So she decides to learn, not in a frantic way, in a devoted way. She begins to explore Buddhist teachings, not as a new label, but as a practical map for living with change. And as she practices, she discovers 9 secrets that help her nurture body, mind, and spirit together, so life feels more whole. The first secret is to stop treating the body like a project and start treating it like a companion. Many people carry a hidden attitude toward their body. They treat it like a tool that must perform. When the tool slows down, they feel insulted. When the tool aches, they feel betrayed. When the tool looks older, they feel ashamed. This creates a painful relationship because the body is not a machine. It is a living process. It changes by nature. Buddhism teaches impermanence. Everything conditioned changes. The body is conditioned, so the body is not failing when it changes. It is being a body. When Patricia began seeing her body as a companion, her whole approach shifted. She stopped waking up and immediately criticizing herself. She stopped looking in the mirror and silently scolding. She started listening instead. She started asking, "What do you need today?" Sometimes the answer was movement. Sometimes it was rest. Sometimes it was water. Sometimes it was a slower morning. Sometimes it was a medical appointment. Sometimes it was simply kindness. This is not indulgence. This is wisdom. When you treat the body as a companion, you care for it steadily. You do not punish it. You do not ignore it. You work with it. And that cooperation becomes a form of peace. The second secret is to protect your nervous system the way you protect your savings. As people age, the nervous system can become more sensitive. The same noise that you tolerated at 40 can feel exhausting at 70. The same late-night habits that once felt normal can become a recipe for anxiety and poor sleep. Many people assume this means they are weak, but it is often just reality. The system needs more gentleness. In Buddhism, mindfulness and wise effort are not only spiritual, they are nervous system skills. Breath, pausing before reacting, returning to the present, softening tension in the jaw and shoulders. These are ways to reduce unnecessary stress. Patricia noticed that she had been feeding her nervous system constant stimulation. News, screens, worry conversations, multitasking, late-night scrolling. Even when she was resting, her mind was still consuming. So she made a simple vow. She would create quiet hedges around her day. In the morning, she would not rush into information. In the evening, she would not flood herself with noise. She began dimming lights earlier. She began ending her day with slower breathing. She began lengthening the exhale, because the long exhale tells the body that it can settle. Within weeks, her sleep was not perfect, but it was gentler. Her irritability softened. Her mind felt less like a crowded room. This was not a miracle. It was cause and effect, karma in the most practical sense. The third secret is to nourish the mind by choosing what you repeatedly attend to. The mind becomes what it practices. If you practice worry, you get skilled at worry. If you practice resentment, you get skilled at resentment. If you practice comparison, you get skilled at dissatisfaction. If you practice mindfulness, you get skilled at returning. If you practice gratitude, you get skilled at seeing support. If you practice compassion, you get skilled at softness. Buddhism is very clear about this. Attention is not neutral. Attention is shaping you. Patricia realized that her mind was being trained by small daily habits. She noticed how often she compared herself to younger people. She noticed how often she replayed old mistakes. She noticed how often she imagined worst-case scenarios. She noticed how much time she spent in mental time travel, living in yesterday or tomorrow instead of today. So she began training attention like training a muscle. She did not force silence. She practiced returning. When the mind wandered into fear, she returned to breath. When the mind wandered into regret, she returned to sensation. When the mind wandered into comparison, she returned to what was actually true in her own life right now. This is mindfulness. It is not a mood. It is a skill. And a skill grows with repetition. The fourth secret is to make movement a form of meditation instead of punishment. Many people associate movement with guilt. They move because they feel bad about the body. They move because they fear weight gain. They move because they think they must earn the right to rest. That attitude makes movement heavy, and heavy movement rarely lasts. Buddhism invites the middle way, not harshness, not laziness, wise effort. In the body, wise effort often looks like gentle, consistent movement that respects limits. Patricia stopped chasing intense routines. She began walking most days, not to prove anything, but to keep the body alive and the mind clear. She treated walking as mindfulness practice. She felt each step. She noticed the air. She softened her shoulders. She listened to birds. She watched light shift. She allowed the walk to be enough. Over time, she realized something. The walk was not only exercise, it was a spiritual practice. It was a daily return to the present. It nourished body and mind together. The fifth secret is to eat undressed with dignity, not with shame. As people age, digestion changes, appetite changes, sleep changes, energy changes. Many people respond by judging themselves. They call themselves weak for needing naps. They call themselves undisciplined for craving comfort foods. They call themselves old for sleeping earlier. Then shame adds stress. And stress worsens digestion and sleep. Buddhist compassion says, do not add cruelty. Patricia started eating more slowly. She practiced mindful eating. She noticed how food affected her energy. She noticed how sugar made her restless. She noticed how heavy meals made her sleep worse. She did not punish herself. She learned. She adjusted. She treated meals as nourishment, not as entertainment and not as guilt. She also stopped treating rest like failure. She began to see rest as maintenance, like charging a lamp so it can shine. She allowed herself to sit quietly. She allowed herself to lie down when tired. She stopped competing with her younger self. This restored a sense of dignity. Dignity is not doing everything alone. Dignity is meeting your own reality with respect. The sixth secret is to clean up emotional debts before they become heavy luggage. Aging often brings a deeper awareness of time. When time feels precious, unresolved emotional burdens become louder. Old grudges, old regrets, old guilt, unspoken love, unspoken apologies. These things take energy. They also shape the mind. A mind full of unresolved resentment is not a peaceful place to live, especially as the body becomes more sensitive. Buddhism teaches that clinging creates suffering. Clinging is not only clinging to objects, it is clinging to stories, to blame, to pride, to being right, to old identities. Patricia began doing gentle emotional housekeeping. She did not try to rewrite the past. She simply asked, what am I still carrying that I no longer want to carry? She noticed she was still angry at a sibling over something decades old. She noticed she was still ashamed about a decision she made while under stress. She noticed she was still grieving a friendship that ended without closure. So she practiced forgiveness, not a dramatic announcement, a quiet release. She wrote letters she did not send. She spoke with people when it was possible. She apologized where she needed to apologize. She also forgave herself, because self-blame is one of the most exhausting forms of clinging. As she released these emotional debts, her chest felt lighter, her sleep improved, her conversations became warmer. This is not abstract spirituality. This is the nervous system letting go of long-held fight. The seventh secret is to nurture the spirit by living with meaning, not by chasing applause. Many people fear becoming irrelevant as they age. Society often rewards youth and speed. When older people feel less seen, they sometimes chase attention, or they withdraw in bitterness. But Buddhist wisdom suggests a different source of meaning. Meaning comes from practice, from compassion, from integrity, from service, from presence, from the way you shape your mind. Patricia realized she had spent many years trying to be approved of. She wanted to be seen as capable. She wanted to be the reliable one. She wanted to be needed. These desires are human. but they can become a trap. So she began cultivating a quieter meaning. She volunteered in a small way, not as overwork, but as connection. She mentored a younger neighbor who felt lost. She listened without trying to fix. She shared calm rather than advice. She practiced generosity in ordinary ways, offering time, attention, patience. Buddhism views generosity as a powerful spiritual practice. It reduces the sense of scarcity. It dissolves isolation. It reminds you that you are part of life. When you give in a wise way, the spirit feels nourished because the heart remembers its capacity to love. The eighth secret is to practice companionship with yourself so loneliness does not become a prison. Loneliness is common in older age. Friends move. People pass away. Families become busy. Communities change. But Buddhism makes an important distinction. Being alone is not the same as being abandoned. Abandonment is often an inner experience, the feeling that you cannot be with yourself. Patricia realized that much of her anxiety came from avoiding her own inner world. She stayed busy so she would not feel sadness. She filled silence so she would not hear fear. She distracted herself so she would not face grief. So she practiced being with herself gently. She sat for a few minutes each day in quiet. She watched thoughts come and go. She noticed emotions rise and fall. She breathed through discomfort. She placed a hand on her chest when she felt overwhelmed. She offered herself loving kindness, silently wishing safety and ease. This built inner companionship, and inner companionship changed everything. When she could be with herself, she stopped clinging to others out of fear. Her relationships became freer. Her loneliness softened. She could enjoy connection without panic when it ended, because she had learned how to return home inside. The ninth secret is to befriend impermanence so you can age without constant fear. This is the secret that holds all the others together. Impermanence is not only a truth about aging, it is a truth about every breath. Everything changes. If you fight that truth, you live in tension. If you accept that truth, you become flexible. And flexibility is a form of strength. Buddhism does not ask you to pretend death is not coming. It invites you to remember mortality so you live with clarity. When you accept that time is limited, you stop wasting it on trivial battles. You forgive faster. You love more openly. You simplify. You practice. You stop postponing peace. Patricia began a gentle morning reflection. Life is uncertain. This body changes. Therefore, I will live today with kindness. She did not use the reflection to scare herself. She used it to awaken. And something remarkable happened. The more she accepted impermanence, the more she appreciated ordinary moments. Sunlight through a window, a warm drink, a phone call, a walk, a shared laugh. The mind became less hungry and more grateful. That gratitude became her radiance. Now I want to weave these 9 secrets into one continuous lived scene, because I want you to feel how it looks in a real day, not as a perfect schedule, but as a gentle rhythm. Imagine Patricia waking up tomorrow. She does not rush. She takes 3 slow breaths. She feels the bed beneath her. She softens her shoulders. She speaks kindly to herself. She gets up and drinks water. She eats something simple without scrolling. She takes a short walk and treats it like meditation. She moves gently. She rests when needed. She limits what she feeds her mind. She reaches out to one person with warmth. She sets a boundary where she needs to. She lets go of an old resentment instead of replaying it. She ends the day with gratitude and quiet breathing. Nothing in that day is dramatic, yet everything in that day is nourishing. This is what unnurtured life looks like. It is not loud. It is steady. If you are listening unthinking, I want this, but my life is messy. My mind is busy. My body hurts. My family is complicated. I understand. Buddhist practice is not for perfect lives. It is for real lives. It begins small. It begins with one breath. It begins with one kinder sentence. It begins with one walk. It begins with one choice to stop feeding the mind what makes it sicker. And I want to be honest about something important. Aging does not only bring loss, it also brings a chance to stop pretending. It brings a chance to stop performing. It brings a chance to become simpler and truer. Many people discover that the spirit can become brighter even as the body becomes more limited, because the spirit is fed by meaning, not by speed. Buddhism often speaks about awakening. Awakening does not require leaving your life. Awakening means seeing clearly. You see that clinging creates suffering. You see that compassion reduces suffering. You see that everything changes. So love now. You see that attention is your real life, so guard it. You see that your mind is trainable, so train it gently. When you nurture body, mind, and spirit together, you are not trying to become young again. You are trying to become whole. And wholeness is the kind of beauty that time cannot easily steal. Before we close, I want to speak directly to you for a moment. The person watching and feeling the quiet fear behind the topic. Maybe you worry about health. Maybe you worry about being alone. Maybe you worry about regret. Maybe you feel tired of carrying everyone else. Maybe you feel like you lost yourself. If that is you, please hear this. You can start caring for yourself now. You can start returning to yourself now. You can start practicing peace now. Not perfectly, not all at once, but sincerely. What you practice becomes your home. So practice a home you want to live in. I want to ask you a gentle question. Which part of you has been asking for care the longest? Your body, your mind, or your spirit? And what is one small thing you can do today to respond with kindness? Share your thoughts in the comments if you want to. Share what you are learning about aging and wholeness. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. If this video helped you, please support the channel by subscribing, liking, and commenting. It helps more people find this quiet wisdom when they need it most. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take one slow breath right now. Feel the body supported. Let the shoulders soften. Let the mind rest for a moment. And remember, aging is change, but suffering is not required. With mindful care, compassionate speech, and steady practice, you can keep nurturing body, mind, and spirit, and you can keep becoming lighter. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, be steady with your practice, and keep coming home to what matters.